In week 1 of this course, we considered the basic issues of energy and the partition of that energy in its different forms. In week 2, we looked at the redistribution of that energy, and we used already a particular physical analogy, the idea of a tipping bucket, which was kind of an asymmetrical system that had a different energy input and output characteristic. One of the things we want to consider in this part is to consider the option or the possibility of another mechanical system. In this case, we've got some sort of incline, and we've got this ball, and we're just going to let it roll. And it's a very simple idea, but the idea, of course, is if we release this ball from a particular position, that it will bounce around for some time and will eventually settle into a kind of local equilibrium position, which is the one it's in right now. In this case, if we make departures from this position in either of the directions, the ball will return to its original place. The displacements will tend to reposition the ball to its original position. However, if we move the ball up to this summit, to the top of this location, we get a kind of unstable position. And now the ball could roll either into this deeper valley or back into this more shallow one. And if we give it a displacement large enough, then it will crest this hill and it will enter this new equilibrium position. This new equilibrium position is quite different because it's a kind of a global equilibrium location, a global minimum. And no matter what kind of departures that we give for this, we won't get to a lower level. The reason why this is significant for Earth's energy systems is because they sometimes have this kind of characteristic. If we input a certain amount of energy into the system, it stays in a fairly local position. We might produce clouds or might produce local rain. However, if we add enough energy to the system to get into this new well, we might introduce new processes that cause a whole new equilibrium structure. We might now release something different in the system, like a hurricane or a tsunami or potentially a thunderstorm that we didn't get before. So we'll let this animation continue. We'll move this ball up to this equilibrium or stable point, and from this it can move down and it moves to this new location where it has a greater amount of energy exchange and will settle now into a new equilibrium position. It's a very simple idea. We'll watch it run one more time. And that idea is quite characteristic. Again, it's suggestive or analogous of the kinds of changes that we take place. Interesting enough, this simple system also gives us a fairly interesting insight into something that happens quite often in our regular life as well. I'm not sure if you've ever noticed that it's surprisingly tiring sometimes if you want to hike down a hill. Hiking up a hill is intrinsically stable. If you stop, your position will be arrested. It won't continue to move on. But if we're in a higher location, we're moving down, we're in an intrinsically unstable position. And if we lose control, then a lot of energy can be released. And the muscles that have to counteract that tendency towards instability are very tiring and sometimes allow our body to receive a remarkable amount of punishment when we're going down. Sometimes is hard, at least on things like joints and knees and toes, than it is to go up a steep hill.